Hello, my name is Justin McQueen. This is my real estate appraisal internship with Riverside Appraisal Services. I did this in summer of 2025. I'm a graduating senior in 2026, and in the picture, there's three of the four owners of the company. So, about me, I was born and raised in Punta Gorda, Florida. I'm a senior at FGCU. I'm majoring in entrepreneurship with a minor in real estate, and fun fact, I'm a fourth generation cattle farmer. The video to the right is of me in the office recording kind of what I'm doing. So my supervisors were John McQueen, Steve Gant, Andy Richardson, Mike Kelly, Brian Kehoe. It kind of shows their qualifications. So my internship overview in the picture, that's my desk I worked at, stacked behind a bunch of file copy boxes. So I basically did commercial and residential property appraisals. I worked 5 days a week from May 5th to July 4th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. This equals 35 hours per week. So I did a total of 280 hours in my internship. I found this job through my dad, who's one of the owners of the company. So basically, because of confidentiality agreements, I can't show you what I actually worked on, which is most of my photos that I have. And I could just briefly describe kind of what I did. So I did two Wendy's buildings in North Fort Myers. I did 50% rule appraisals, which basically you value the property and their 50% of what that value is they could use for improvement, which is they were trying to improve the property. The next one I did was a nursery in Alva. There's not many land sales of nurseries in the state of Florida, so you kind of have to do the cost approach, which is kind of valuing the improvements on the land and figure out a value for it. Next, I did a residential 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Port Charlotte, Florida. Uh, Much easier appraisal residentials are. There, you just fill out this long form and kind of write a document with it. Then I did an retail building in Arcadia. Basically, it's a very old building. The tenant was trying to buy it from the landlord who was going to sell it, and they're trying to figure out a price for selling. Then I did a cattle ranch in Parrish, Florida. This was a 140 acres ranch, so I had to find land sales in the area. Then my final appraisal I did was a church in Punta Gorda. I'd use the cost approach to figure out the value of the buildings. So this is the office I would go to every day. So my career goals are to be a successful entrepreneur. I like working for myself. I don't like kind of being told what to do, even though you do get told when you're an entrepreneur. But I like being the boss, kind of running the show, going in on my own time. And I also want to own a real estate brokerage and appraisal company. And I plan on owning a bunch of real estate. So these are good skills to learn. So in this picture, this book is Marshall and Swift Valuation Services. The guys in the office kind of joke that this is your best friend if you're an appraiser, just because you use this book on a day-to-day. The cost approach you use, that book is filled with price per square foot of buildings. So you kind of have to figure out the square foot of your buildings. And you use a lot of technical skills, professional skills, analytic skills to kind of calculate different approaches and different land values based on square foot, a whole bunch of different things that go into it. So mainly my supervisor was John McQueen, which is on the left. Andy and Steve both gave me jobs to work on, but I mainly reported to John. These are the owners of the company, and they went to high school together. This is my supervisor's office. As you can see, it's filled with files and always messy because there's a lot to work on. So my greatest contribution to to my employer was the reports I completed. I completed 6 different reports. Most of these reports were from 50 to 100 pages. The residential ones being smaller than the big church or the big cattle ranch. There was a lot of specific formatting and different approaches, different reports that I had to do for each type of report. I know that's kind of a mouthful, but it makes sense if you actually do the reports. So I learned a lot about professionalism. I grew a ton from this internship. I would complete 100-page reports in less than a week, and I think that's kind of my greatest accomplishment. I learned a lot about professionalism with meeting with the clients. I would be let into people's homes and different properties, and you have to and take pictures, and you have to be taught, like, you be respectful and you learn good communication with the clients. Some connections I learned in my real estate valuations course. I learned a lot about it, appraisals, so it was a good stepping stone going into this. I learned a lot in my entrepreneurship class about data entry and different data techniques. And then problem solving, I learned a lot in entrepreneurship classes. So my impact, this internship taught me what it's like to run a business, how to become an entrepreneur, how to never give up when you're tired and you don't feel like working. And this internship taught me very useful skills that I'll use for the rest of my life, no matter what career I choose. So thank you guys.